training series, and we're doing training programs for veteran and other beginning farmer ranchers. And so our objectives today, we want to explore local and national agriculture training programs. And we hope that you'll understand training programs that are available to veterans and other beginning farmer ranchers and how to actually engage in those programs. Our agenda today, we have Heidi Barber for Farmers Education and Training Center. We call it the FEET. We have Tyler Froberg for Hope Farms. We have Hyatt for Farmers Assisting Returning Military. We have Miss Margo Hale from NCAT's Arm to Farm, and Stephanie Von, Ankin, from Holistic Management International. Probably should, it's HMI, probably HMI. And we also have Kevin Cody from our New Entry Sustainable Farming Project. So I'll make sure I put our HMI on here so that that's how we usually refer to them if you come to our workshops or working with our participants, so that you know what those acronyms are. And just remember, we will be sending these out, the slides out with the notes and everything, as well as the contacts for all of our speakers and their bios once we get finished. So we did schedule an hour and a half for our webinar today. So you know kind of the format of today. We wanted to give all of our speakers, they each have a couple slides. They each have about 5-7 minutes to tell you about their programs. You can put those questions in the chat box, and we'll make sure to address those a little bit as we go along. But I want to make sure that we left enough time to visit with these guys after and kind of ask them some questions and get a little bit more knowledge about their programs. And so our first speaker is Miss Heidi Barber from our Farmers Education and Training Center. And Heidi, I'll let you just go ahead and jump in from there, and I'll run the slideshow from here. So if you just want to tell me when you're ready for me to change slides, I will do that.
Okay, that works. There's only 2 of them, so it's not like it's super long.
All right.
All right, so while she's pulling up the first slide, my name is Heidi Barber. I am the farm manager for the FEET Farm, which is part of Compatible Lands, and they are the primary writers of the grant which funds the BattleGround, the Breaking Ground program currently. I see your slides are not cooperating.
There you go. Yes. Now I'm like, so yeah, it's really starting to downpour here, so it's shaking the house. So hopefully, like I said, well, hopefully it'll hold. But you should. That's your first one.
Yes.
I think now.
Yep, it is. All right. So basically, what we do out at the farm is we provide mentorship for veterans that are enrolled in the BattleGround, the Breaking Ground program, and we also provide educational hands-on learning workshops targeted to the needs of the participants of the BattleGround and Breaking Ground program. The workshops, when we host them, are also open to the public as well. As like for around in our area here, we do have a lot of new and beginning farmer and ranchers, and this information is good for those as well. One thing I see you didn't get on there was the pictures, unless they're on the next slide.
Yep, nope.
There we go. All right, so the pictures that are on here are from the in-person hands-on workshops that we held prior to COVID getting us locked down. We did a welding workshop where we went through and built a recessed entrance to the property. We did 80-foot in, that way if we had trailers or whatever we could pull in, because the current gate as it sat, you would even have your trucks sitting out in the regular road while trying to open the gate. So we recessed that in. We did it as a pipe fence, used cattle panels for the wire in it, and just made it recessed in. The second photo up there is from our business workshop, which is the in-person version of what we're doing currently with the series we're doing. Gives you a little bit more collaboration time, but this is getting everything covered just as well, and probably the same amount of collaboration, if not a little bit better, for what you're looking at and getting into. And we also did, in conjunction with the Middle Trinity Groundwater Conservation District, groundwater conservation class, and we talked about some of what their purpose is as far as groundwater conservation is concerned, and different programs that they have in place for landowners. And the pictures up here, we had 2 abandoned wells on the property. And part of the hands-on piece of that, we went through and actually plugged those wells. You can find information about us on Facebook. We do have a Facebook page. I don't want to put a lot of stuff on there, and I haven't really a minute to use it more for whenever we did our workshops, to be able to post that information there. So little lagging on some of the information there, and I'll apologize for that. But we also have a YouTube channel as the BattleGround program is going along with the COVID, keeping us kind of locked down, not being able to do the in-person. We've had to modify our ability to get some of the workshops out to the participants, and the instructional series videos are contained on that YouTube channel. Guaranteed they're not the most professional. You'll probably get a few chuckles if you actually watch them, but the idea is to try to give you at least some of the base information for doing some of the different tasks that we have actually videoed so far. And we are still working on more videos for that.
And she's being modest. They are good. They do a really good job.
Wait till I make the blooper version.
Yes, thank you for edit. Heidi, can you tell us real fast, how do you choose the topics for the different, even the YouTube channel, but also for just the workshops and those kinds of things?
So for the what task we do, part of it, or a good majority of it, is based on the information that the BattleGround participants filled out. So if they say that they're getting into sheep raising and they kind of need to know everything about sheep raising because they have not a clue right now, then what we try to do is take a look at what we have on the farms and tailor the classes to that. So I raise sheep myself, and sheep and goats are fairly similar with a few minor twitches in there. So I'll usually cover a lot of the sheep and goat items. Up at the farm, we also have Erin's cattle up there that we use for cattle workshops. And then we were working on trying to do cover cropping and planting a garden right there when the COVID got everything locked down. So those ended up being canceled, but that is something that we will be doing once we're able to get in person again. And then sometimes I'll get some of the suggestions from our local extension agents too, if they know of local producers that are wanting more information on a topic and it's something that we can facilitate out at the property, then we'll incorporate some of those too.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, ma'am. I'll probably have some more questions for you when we get a little further down the road. Thank you, Miss Heidi.
You're welcome.
All right. And our next speaker, Ms. Tyler Froberg, been with our program for a long time, worked with us in Extension, and now is farm manager over there at Hope Farms, and is doing a great job. So I'm excited to hear more about what you guys are doing over there at Hope Farms. Tyler, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here. Thanks, Erin.
Absolutely. And I put your slides on. Let me get your first one. And I broke them in half, and so
yeah, thank you very much.
Great pictures.
So first off, thank you, Erin, and the AgriBility team for having us on. We're super excited to be here. Always excited to get the opportunity to work with AgriLife, and we certainly hosted a BattleGround to Breaking Ground, the student-led class out here at the farm. So that was really cool. So just our program in a nutshell, it's pretty intensive. It's a 2,000-hour or a full-year program. And so we kind of break it down into two phases. So when we recruit our trainees, we recruit for our 3-month program. And after the 3 months, we kind of go through a basic, everything there is to know about fruit production, vegetable production, and poultry production. And it gives our trainees a very good foundation of what it takes and to go on and do it themselves. following the 3 months, they have the option to extend for the rest of the 9 months, totaling 12 months, where we go into more of the agronomics and business planning, really similar to a lot of the other programs that are out there. I just want to emphasize that this program is a full-time program. Our trainees do receive a stipend. The base is $13 an hour. That it also includes some incentives that if you reach those goals, it'll equal to about $17 an hour. And like I said, I want to just emphasize that our trainees are out on the farm for 40 hours a week, Monday through Friday, with some Saturdays. So we try to take our trainees through what it's really like to be a fruit and vegetable farmer this day and age. And so our trainees, this is very much a working apprenticeship. So they're in the field with us every day. We do classroom multiple times a week. We work our market here on farm. We go to outside farmers markets. And so we like to say we take our trainees from seed to market and everything in between. And so the overall goal for our trainees once they graduate here is not just to be ready to go work on a farm, but to be in a leadership position on a farm. And so whether it's to go and be a farmer themselves on their own piece of property or go be a farm manager on someone else's piece of property, it's a very, very intensive year. But like I said, if the year isn't for you, we also offer just phase one, just 3 month portion, to just give a trainee who maybe has property and has a little bit of experience, but isn't really sure where to start and just needs to know the basics. And so that's what that 3 months would give them. So one thing that's different about us here at Hope Farms is we are a nonprofit and we are an urban farm. And so we're actually within the city limits of Houston in the Sunnyside community. And so the farm also plays a bigger role into our nonprofit's mission of feeding food deserts. And so we're just doing some really cool stuff here. And Erin, do I have pictures on the next slide?
I've got your pictures of your
there we go.
farmers market. Yes.
Yeah. So I love this slide. I love these pictures. Just a really good glimpse. Everyone always asks me, well, what is a day-to-day for a trainee? Well, you're looking at it. Like I said, we try to give our trainees and prepare them as best as possible to what it's going to be like to be a full-time farmer. And you kind of see that here. Us after a little harvest for a farmer's market using the seeder in the field. We also offer, once you hit phase two, after the 3 month program, we have a training fields on the farm where our trainees take full leadership over a small section of land. And so we use that land for them to build a crop plan, and they have to work it as if it was their own piece of property. And then one last thing, one thing that we do, because we understand that we can't just turn our trainees loose after they graduate. We do want our trainees to be successful. And so at 6 months into the program, we actually release our trainees 2 days a week to go work on their own place while still receiving the stipend. And then at 9 months, so the last 3 months of the program, we release them 3 days a week. So they'll be with us 2 days a week and be on their own farm 3 days a week, just so we could try to give our trainees the best absolute start to their farm as possible. And upon graduation, you'll have your business plan, you'll have a year of farming experience, and you'll also be put into our incubation program, which the big one is that it involves our tool share. So you'll be able to use our walk-behind tractor, which you see up at the top picture. You'll be able to use our front-end loader there that you see on the bottom picture. All of our expertise and experience you'll be able to call upon. Yeah. Any questions?
That's fantastic, Tyler. And you said it's a registered DOL apprenticeship, and is that correct?
Say that for me one more time, Erin.
It's a registered Department of Labor apprenticeship, isn't it?
Yes. If someone needs to go that route, we have done that before. Yes.
Oh,
yes. With the AgVet grant, we're funded through that, and so we don't have to do the registered apprenticeship, but we certainly have done that in the past. Absolutely. And one more thing I just want to add, we are currently recruiting for August 1st start date. So anyone interested in fruit, vegetable, or poultry production, I would highly encourage you to visit our website, hopefarmshtx.org. Drop an application, and we'd love to see you out here on August 1st.
That's wonderful. When's the applications due, Tyler?
So we'd like to have all the applications in by July 20th. However, we know things are a little crazy right now, and everyone's situation is different. And so if you are interested, please just reach out. Even if it's after the 20th, please reach out, and we'd love to talk to you.
How many apprentices do you guys usually have?
So we try to keep it as personal as possible. So we've never had more than 6 on the farm at one time, just because it's every day, and we try to give everyone the same experience, really intensive. So we try to keep it between 6 and 8 trainees at a time.
That's wonderful. Kim asked, is there any way to kind of modify the program so it could be part-time?
So we've looked into it. We would love to sit down and talk to someone who is really, really interested. The last 2 years since we got the grant, we just haven't had any interest in it. But if you are interested in a part-time program, we would love to sit down and discuss, have a real discussion about what we could do to fit everyone's needs.
Wonderful. And I can tell you, I learned so much about social media marketing and how it should be done right by looking at your Facebook page. So I don't know that there's anybody out there that markets and shows what you guys do and really just really showcases their program quite as well as you guys do. I have to just give you guys.
I really appreciate
Facebook.
I appreciate that, and I would encourage if anyone has any questions about what the day-to-day is like, you can look at Hope Farm's Facebook page, or you can look at mine, Tyler Froberg's Facebook page, or Instagram. And we try to keep it as up to date as possible. I'm usually making daily posts about what we're doing out here.
Yes, it's so good. I love looking at it. Well, and last question, it's Karen asked, is there housing available at Hope Farms?
Unfortunately, we don't have housing. However, we're in a kind of a growing suburbia. In Houston, we like to say we're 30 minutes from everything. And so there are affordable places within 20 to 30 minutes of Hope Farms that don't break the bank.
Yeah, he's not kidding. When he's talking about kind of urban area, they are really right in the middle of that part of Houston. So
we absolutely are.
Sure,
but one unique thing, the interesting thing about where we are too. So we're in the middle, kind of in the middle, south side of Houston, and we're only 30 minutes from small towns. We're 30 minutes from the coast, 30 minutes from all the good restaurants in the middle of downtown Houston. So we're in a really, really unique spot where if someone was looking to relocate, it's not a bad place to relocate to.
Yes. Yeah, it's a good spot. I enjoyed it. And it's big. It's your place about 6 acres, right?
Yeah, 7. Yeah, just over 7 acres, which is really unique for an urban farm.
Yes. That's awesome. Well, thank you, Tyler. Well, I'm sure we'll have probably some more questions as we go along here too. That's awesome.
Sure, absolutely.
I need to come visit you
Thank
guys.
you all for having me.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. And our next wonderful speaker, Miss Hyatt, with Farmers Assisting Returning Military. Hyatt has, we've been friends with Steve and James, I think, almost from the beginning. And Hyatt, I think you came on 2015, 2016?
Yeah, I came in 2015 as a volunteer. And then I did their internship, and then I became their first hire.
Yes, it's because you worked so hard. You started working for free, and then they hired you on and just never let you go, which is smart because, man, I don't think there's anything that Hyatt doesn't do, honestly, for farm. Technically, your title is executive director, right?
Yes.
But also farm manager and everything in between. So I'll let her tell you.
I'm the only paid person in the
Yes. And she does a great job with programs and probably one of the most passionate people about veterans and farming that I know. So I love what they do, and I'm excited to have them here with us. So I'll turn it over to you.
Well, thank you for that, Erin. I appreciate all the kind words, and we have definitely been grateful for you and everybody at AgriLife. So my name's Hayat El-Jendi. Like she said, I'm the executive director for Farmers Assisting Returning Military. We are a nonprofit organization founded by 2 Army veterans in 2014. Our mission is assisting our nation's veterans find peace, purpose, and opportunity through therapeutic agricultural training and rehabilitation. The organization was started out of need by, you can go on to the next slide, Erin, James Jeffers and Steve Smith, when they settled. By the way, we're located in Dallas, Texas. They settled in Dallas, and initially we're going to get into green building. One of our guys, James, suffered from severe traumatic brain injury, and both had PTSD, and just kind of trying to find their way. And they kind of went down a rabbit hole of organics, trying to heal their guts and their systems from being in the military and providing for their families. And they found how therapeutic it was for them in their brain injuries and their PTSD. And so they started tearing up their yards, growing food. They had initially started a for-profit called Eat the Yard that did edible landscaping and composting in the Oak Cliff area in Dallas, Texas. However, to date, they had lost 14 guys from their unit to suicide. So they decided to put the for-profit on hold to start the nonprofit out of need, because it was so healing for them that they wanted to provide that same experience for their brothers and sisters. So the organization started off as just kind of a healing, peer-to-peer support, that camaraderie. And, they had met Michael O'Gorman with the Farmer Veteran Coalition, and they just knew it was what they wanted to do. Now, Erin came into our lives, and we started implementing more of the education piece to it. And with the education came the healing piece. So it just went hand in hand. We've transitioned a little bit over the years, and now we offer several different opportunities for not just veterans wanting to become farmers, but just anything, if they needed a space to, do something different to heal, but there's also that space to train to become that farmer. We just believe it's a way for veterans to continue their service to their communities by healing America's distressed food system. You can go on to the next slide, Erin. So some of our programs that we offer, it's like a farm immersion mentorship internship program, to where we have a list of existing farmers and veteran farmers who have teamed up with us to become mentors to those looking to start careers in agriculture. We can connect veterans with mentors. If they enjoy what they're doing, it can turn into an internship that we oversee on their properties, on that farmer's property. We have tiny homes that we pull out to properties to set that veteran up to assist that farmer and learn from them. Now, as an organization, our focus is on vegetable production. We believe food is the #1 medicine you need. However, we do have partners who do livestock, whether it be chickens or cows or bison or all of the above. We also, provide resources to those veterans to provide the resources they need to be successful in their operations, whether it be, the business planning or the marketing or the market research, all that kind of stuff, branding, whatnot. We have recently started a work exchange program, because a lot of the things that we do is we go onto these veterans' properties and help them establish their operations. Well, we run a skeleton crew, so it just kind of became a lot for us. So what we decided to implement was a work exchange program. So if we go to your property and we help you, we bring veterans out, and however many hours those people put on your property, you exchange it on somebody else's property as well. It's a really great way to build community, and, you know, creating different platoons in the areas to where we can connect all those veterans to help other veterans or just farmers that are in need. We do have a Farm 101 workshop series that is currently on hold because of COVID. We've talked about going virtual, but we just do not have the capacity to do that right now. However, we are here, you know, available to answer any questions or if there's any guidance anybody needs. As far as vegetables production or needing to connect with somebody who does something that we may not focus on, we're here for that as well. And lastly, the biggest project we're working on is our urban farm park. So we actually have 3 acres in the middle of downtown Dallas that we are building out an urban training and demonstration farm. It's a unique space because we're building it all on top of a concrete parking lot. So we have engineered about half an acre of engineered the soil of a half an acre giant raised bed where we do high intense crop rotations. And in that space will be different outlets on how to grow food, from hydroponics to aquaponics, sheep farming, and then the components that go along with growing food, from composting, compost tea operations, worms, rainwater collection, and the such. So the idea is to employ the veterans. Once it's complete, we'll employ veterans to become the leaders in their communities again, educating the communities on how to grow their own food, combating those food issues of food insecurity in the North Texas area. So it'll be completely open to the public to come in if they just want to hang out, if they want to do some farming activities. There will be farmers markets. There'll be all kinds of stuff. So I'm sorry I didn't have more pictures of that, but you can actually get on our website or any of our social platforms to check all of that out. And I also just realized I didn't put any of that on our slides.
That's okay. No, and I have to tell you guys, when because I got to see the what was going to be the urban farm park when it was just a parking lot with no running water, no amenities, and it was like a 3-acre parking lot. And, you know, we're talking about the project, and I'm thinking, you know, I come from West Texas cattle lands, and I'm thinking, how do you farm on concrete? Like, how is that something that is possible? And just have seen what you guys have turned it into, and just layering the compost, they literally created soil and this like oasis in downtown Dallas, and it's incredible. It is really, truly incredible what you guys have done with that place. And so I encourage you, if you can, get a chance to go out there and visit and see what they've done.
Yeah, people definitely thought we were crazy. And maybe we're a little bit crazy. But Steve and James have always been quite the visionaries when it comes to a lot of stuff, and they're incredibly intelligent, and have just been able to do this thing that they've entrusted me to execute. So, and it's been working. It's been a slow process. As a nonprofit, you know, funding isn't always the easiest thing to come by, but I mean, we're utilizing the resources we have. We do a lot of recycling to create stuff, but it's been fun. So hopefully, we're hoping by the end of this year we'll have most of it done. But we've actually just had our first round of production on it, full production, since we've been engineering the soil. So that's been super exciting, and that's actually one of the things we've been doing. When COVID hit, was we have a lot of people in our network that are tied to the food service industries and whatnot. So we've connected farmers with chefs who have pioneered the farm to table movement in Dallas. And we have a loyal chef population that really understands supporting local agriculture. Well, once COVID hit, a lot of our farmers lost their revenues that were working with these restaurants. So we kind of took it upon ourselves to for a lack of a better word, rescue these farmers and bring their produce directly to the consumer. So, and creating these stories behind, connecting the consumer to the producer and telling their story, and in hopes that, this movement of supporting local agriculture will continue on through once we get through this COVID process. So we created an online store on our website that obviously changes regularly depending on what is out there, but we are selling the produce or meat or value-added goods that our farmers have put together pre-sold through our website, and they come to our farm downtown to pick it up. So we've been able to assist these farmers who lost their revenues, to keep going.
That's wonderful. Well, make sure I'll have to visit with you more about that, because I know that's part of the putting those packages together even for the community, and there's some funding out there to do that too. So that's really exciting. I'm glad you guys have done that, and your commitment to the community and your other farmers has always been astounding. So you always find room to help out. So I appreciate that about you guys. Thank you, sister. Well, we will jump back on, and we'll get some questions here when we make it to the end.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. All right. Our next speaker is Miss Margo Hale from NCAT's Arm to Farm. And I haven't actually got to participate in Arm to Farm personally. I've always wanted to, but quite a few of our participants that have gone through the BattleGround program have been gone through Arm to Farm and have just ranted and raved about how wonderful it was and what wonderful things they learned from there. So I'm excited to learn more about the Arm to Farm program and how that works. So I'll turn it over to you, Margo.
All right. Thank you so much for inviting me to be on. There we go. So my name is Margo Hale, and I work for the National Center for Appropriate Technology, or NCAT, and we are a national nonprofit that focuses on sustainable agriculture and energy programs. And we have 6 regional offices across the country. I am in our Fayetteville, Arkansas office, but we do have an office in San Antonio, and our staff there work all across Texas, and maybe some of you guys have interacted with some of our staff members there. I know my coworker Justin Duncan has participated in quite a few BattleGround workshops, and he does some programming and work with training farmer veterans as well across Texas. And some of the other staff members there in Texas are Colin Mitchell, Kara Kroger, Robert Maggiani, and Mike Morris. So for those of you listening, if you've interacted with any of them, they're my wonderful coworkers. And so NCAT has been around for over 40 years, doing a variety of agriculture programs. And our longest running project is called ATRA, Sustainable Agriculture Information Service. And ATRA, I want to tell you about ATRA first before I talk about Arm to Farm, because it's kind of the basis of all of the training and the work that we do. Through ATRA, we have hundreds, I think we have over 800 titles now of publications, videos, webinars, podcasts, all sorts of information that you can find on our website. And we also have about 24 technical specialists on staff who are available to help answer questions. So you can call us. We have a 1-800 number that's answered every day. You can email us. You can go to our website and chat with someone there, or email myself or any of the other specialists if you have happened to meet one of them. And we can help answer questions and provide resources and do detailed research requests for you. So if you have a question about something going on your farm, or you would like to enter into a new enterprise or a new market, we're here to help. So you can go to the next slide. So please utilize ATRA, go to our website, check out our publications and all of the resources we have there. So through NCAT and ATRA, we've long done trainings and workshops for farmers and beginning farmers. And in 2011, we started doing training specifically for veterans. We had partnered with Michael O'Gorman and Farmer Veteran Coalition when they very first got started and helped them do some trainings. And at the time we had a farmer veteran who was on staff with us, Terrell Spencer, or Spence. Some of you may know Spence. He's a pastured poultry producer here in Arkansas and has been really involved in farmer veteran things across the country. And Spence was on staff with us, and he said, listen, we need to develop an intensive training for veterans. So that's what we did. Arm to Farm is a week-long training program, and each training has about 30 participants, and it's open to veterans and their spouses or farm partners. We think that's really important. If a spouse, wants to be able to join the training, or farm partner, because we know that everyone has to be on board for the farming enterprise to be successful. The training is set up where we have classroom sessions and on-farm sessions. And so it's a week long, and usually we'll spend the morning in the classroom focusing on things like business planning, financial management, record keeping, access to USDA programs, and then just general production information. And then we visit a variety of farms where participants can do some hands-on activities and learn and see directly from some successful farmers. And so they'll kind of give us a tour and give us kind of the background information of what's worked for them, what have been their challenges, how they've overcome those, how they handle marketing, all those types of things. And then we'll do some hands-on activities so people can get experience handling animals or setting up fence, harvesting, planting, using equipment. We've put up hoop houses, all sorts of things. So Arm to Farm, we offer these trainings in various locations across the country, and we generally pull from a regional population whenever we have one of these trainings. We did have a training in Texas early on in 2014, and we have one scheduled for I can't remember if it's 2021 or 2022. We have a few different grant programs that help fund Arm to Farm trainings, and so we have quite a few trainings on the docket for the next 2 or 3 years, and hopefully we'll be able to add more to that as well. The application process when we have trainings, it is competitive. It's open, 30 slots, and we usually get between 60 and 100 applications for each training that we offer. So it is competitive. I wish we could have enough room for everybody, but the training is free for attendees, and we cover lodging and most meals, local transportation, and a whole host of resources that each participant receives. So it's a pretty good deal for participants. One of the outcomes of the training, besides getting a week-long kind of intensive training, is a network is really formed from the participants. So we find that, those 30 folks who spent a week together, they really bond, and they continue that network even after the training. So supporting each other and having people who can, help answer questions. And now that we've held 24 Arm to Farms over the last 7 years, we have a broad network all across the country of farmer veterans who, are there to help support each other. And, the great thing now is as we move our trainings around, we've been able to host trainings at some Arm to Farm alumni's farms, which is really fun and wonderful. As with most folks, COVID has put a damper on some of our Arm to Farm trainings. We had several planned for this spring and summer that we've had to postpone. I'm really hoping that in the coming months we're able to continue our in-person trainings, just because we have been and will continue to do some online components, but really, there's nothing beats the in-person nature of developing a cohort and getting hands-on experience. You can't really handle sheep online. So we really hope we can get back to our scheduled in-person trainings soon. So you can follow Arm to Farm on Facebook and go to our website, and that's where we post when we have upcoming trainings and post about the application process. We also have a Veterans in Agriculture listserv that has hundreds of participants on that listserv, and it's just a way that we share information, we share resources. You can, ask questions. Sometimes if people want to know, you have a question and want to get the input of others, you can put that out there. So you can find out how to sign up for that listserv on our NCAT Arm to Farm website if you're interested, or email me.
Awesome. And Margo, will you guys through that listserv send out notification of when applications open for the upcoming Arm to Farms?
Yes, absolutely. You can either sign up for that listserv, or even if you don't want to be on the listserv, you can email me, and we have a list of folks who we make sure that get the notifications about any of our veteran trainings or Arm to Farms. That's
great. And Oliver, I can tell you, I love your tutorials. Whoop, wrong button. And I've spent quite a bit of time, and we also even add that in as some of our curriculum, and bring in some of your specialists like Justin, or I think it was Colin that that was our poultry specialist to teach, because you guys are really, really great at what you do, and really have a passion for participants and teaching. And I think Colin, no, it wasn't Colin, it was your poultry specialist. Kevin, yes. Yeah. Yes, processed birds with us all day long. We did a workshop. Yes. we just processed chickens all day long. It was great. So, so I really appreciate all that you guys do and all the resources that are out there. And hopefully one of these days I'll get to come to your Arm to Farm. And
yes, absolutely. You are welcome. Whenever the Texas one happens, well, I'll probably be calling on you, and would love for you to be there and participate.
That'd be great. Anytime you get any way to get out on the farm, you just holler at me. I'll be there. All right. Thanks, Margo.
You bet.
All right. So our next speaker, Miss Stephanie, from Holistic Management International, which we affectionately call HMI. I can tell you, HMI was a program. I actually went through your Beginning Farmer Rancher training program, kind of back when you did the Texas one.
Wow.
So it was great. So I got to graduate through that program, and it was just really eye-opening, the different ways that you look at agriculture, because I did come from a traditional agriculture background, but the regenerative agriculture movements and the way you teach, and your all of your speakers and their passion for what you guys do is just always really warmed my heart. And then of course I've got to work with you guys on a lot of other things that we've done around Texas over the years, but I'm excited to have you, and I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed hearing from all the different organizations and what they're doing. We are an international nonprofit, so we work all over the world, but we do have a huge group of practitioners and educators in Texas, so it's great to see what other folks are up to. So I'm here to share a little bit about Holistic Management International, or HMI. My name's Stephanie Von Enken. I'm programs manager with HMI. I've been with them for a little over 5 years. We're an educational and environmental nonprofit. We've been around since 1984, and our mission is to educate people in regenerative agriculture for healthy land and thriving communities. So we offer a number of educational opportunities in holistic management and regenerative agriculture. We have 6 different modules that we offer. We have the Introduction to Holistic Management module, holistic financial planning, grazing planning, cropping planning, marketing and business planning, biological monitoring, and land planning. Those are our 6 main modules, but on occasion we do, actually there's 7 there, excuse me, but on occasion we do offer specialized courses as well. We collaborate with a lot of local organizations, Slow Food, actually with NCAT. We're looking forward to hopefully having our Arm to Farm event in New Mexico sometime in the near future. Margo, it's great to hear from you.
Yes, I know.
Oh my goodness. So something I really enjoy about our work is the opportunity to engage with farmers and ranchers and land managers from all over the world. It brings in really unique perspectives and different brittleness, climate environments, and of course a lot of solutions through those conversations. Our founder, my boss actually lives in Texas, so she manages a lot of events around Texas. And we normally offer in-person and online trainings, but of course, under the current circumstances, we're just focusing on our online and virtual trainings. We do have a variety of online options, different formats, longer, shorter, more focused on certain things, but I do want to share just 2 of them with y'all today. You can go to the next slide. Oh, sorry, wait, the getting started one. That's perfect. If you go back one. Sorry, it was frozen on me for a sec.
That's okay.
So one is the Getting Started online learning series. This is an interactive online course with a maximum of 30 students. It's taught over a 6-week period with 1 live webinar every week that's facilitated by a certified educator. And all the webinars are recorded, so if you're unable to join a live webinar, you can always watch the recording at a time that's more convenient for your schedule. So in that course, we offer the introduction, the financial planning, and the holistic grazing planning modules in this format. The Getting Started courses cost $350 per module, but we have a ton of grant funding, so we have full and partial scholarships available. So cost should never be a barrier to participate. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and share in the chat box. Let me see. Here we go. So there's some more links to more information about HMI and the course offerings. So if you want to go to the next slide. All right. So the second option is the free educational downloads. We understand that participating in a full course is a big commitment, and there are many different types of learners out there. So our free downloads include the entire curriculum from the introduction, financial, and grazing, the PowerPoints, the manual readings, and the worksheets, all free of charge. And those are for folks who want to get their feet wet, who are more inclined to learn on their own through reading and research. And it's also a good place for people who are not sure where to begin. And so it's an opportunity to, free of charge, kind of look at the material and see what sparks interest, what looks like it could be a solution to what you're working through in your management or wherever you're beginning in your regenerative ag process. So if you're interested in applying for a scholarship or have any questions, please send me an email or give me a call. Again, you can find my contact information in the chat box. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephanie. Yeah, and I actually started with your free downloads, and they're wonderful. They're written kind of more like almost like a workbook. So they provide you like the education, and then you have worksheets and those kinds of things. And I'll tell you probably the biggest thing I learned. I mean, all the grazing and the land planning, the biological mining is amazing. But the most, I think, important thing that you guys taught me was about that holistic goal setting. And that was such a kind of foreign concept to me. I don't know why, but the decision making that you guys taught us at the beginning of yes, these decisions you can make, but how does that impact your goal? And if you're like, and our goals weren't just kill this weed, our goal might be spend more time with my family. Well, if I make this decision, does it get me closer to that goal? And I thinking about that has really changed the way we do things. And I've partnered with some of you guys in Texas and helped kind of think through that process, even when our BattleGround students start and they have to think about their values and what's important and how to plan and bringing our partners in and having those conversations. And that was a really amazing and I think unique way to train that you guys really, I think, have pioneered, and really grateful for that.
Great. Yeah. And I think it's also something where you don't even have to be a land manager to create a holistic goal and learn about the decision testing. It can be helpful in everyday life.
Yes, and that's, honestly, and that's probably the thing I get the biggest questions is like, what should I do? It's like, you got to figure out what your goals are first before you can decide what you want to do. But that decision testing and decision making process, I think, is just applicable everywhere, but it's probably one of the most influential things I think you guys do for us producers, because sometimes we're just running headlong without considering how that impacts other things. So thanks for
Right,
all
'cause
that you guys do.
For sure. Thanks so much for having us.
Yes, ma'am. All right. And our final speaker to kind of bring everything together, Kevin, from our New Entry Sustainable Farming Project. When I started thinking about training farmers and ranchers and producers and things, somehow, some way, I stumbled across the the National Incubator Farm Training Initiative, and it's affectionately called NIFTY, and went to one of their field schools, which is a fancy way, and I'm sure Kevin's going to tell you more about it, of saying that they brought a bunch of us together who were interested in training farmers and ranchers, and some of them who had been training since the 80s or earlier, and some of us who were just getting started, and we all got together and got to talk about how that impacted us, and what our challenges were, what our successes were, and learn from one another. And it has really changed, I know, our programming, but lots of programming around the country, and I think you guys even maybe around the world, with your programs and how you guys train farmers and ranchers. And I'm excited to learn more about we talked some at the Incubator Farm Field School about y'all's farm, but I'm excited to learn more about the farm that you guys have and the ways you guys do farmer training and all your programs. I actually didn't know you guys did so much until I got your presentation and was reading through it. So I'm excited to hear more about what you guys do and how to get involved.
Awesome. Thank you. And thanks for the invitation to be here. And I just got to say, so impressed with all of the presentations so far, and so cool to learn about programs, I guess all over the place, but also just there in Texas. I'm just really inspired to see what y'all are doing, and yeah, happy to be here.
Yes, sir. Well, thanks for joining.
So, yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about NIFTY. I'll try to avoid too many acronyms, but that's one of our national programs. But before I do, I just kind of wanted to cover a couple of the other key program areas of New Entry. New Entry is short for New Entry Sustainable Farming Project. We've been around for, about 20 years. And technically, we are a program of Tufts University and something called the Friedman School of Nutrition Science and Policy. That relationship has been a little bit sort of distant until pretty recently, but we're actually becoming more involved with Tufts University as of just this year, including some courses and opportunities for research and things like that on our farm. So I'm going to start with the farmer training program, and then I'll talk a little bit about our food hub operation and then the national programs. Give me the next slide. So farmer training really consists of kind of these three key areas. These are regular features of our programming. They've changed a bit from year to year, generally, as a lot of times, and probably all you can understand and appreciate that sometimes the needs of participants change, sources of funding change. But for the most part, our courses are focused around kind of developing a pipeline for beginning farmers. And historically, for New Entry, we focused on immigrant and refugee farmers, and then about 10 years ago kind of expanded our field of participants to include beginning farmers and veteran farmers. Our Explore Farming course is kind of an introductory course that's just 2 hours. Like everyone here too, we're starting to migrate a lot of our programming online and also trying to find ways to keep it interactive and experiential. What we've also been seeing as a result of moving some of these things online is getting a huge diversity of folks from around the country, which has kind of been cool, especially for things like our Explore Farming course, which are applicable to kind of just anyone. We do focus a little bit on farming in New England and in our region, but that course is really kind of just an introductory primer about what steps one might take as they're thinking about getting involved in agriculture and starting a farm business. From there, folks can go on to our farm business planning class. This is an 8-week course we offer twice a year. We'll be doing it online this year. In the past, we've offered sort of hybrid versions of it, but this has kind of been the primary sort of gatekeeping like course that folks would take to get onto our incubator, which I'll talk about in a second. But the business class sounds a lot like what some of y'all are doing too, in terms of helping walk participants through each step of developing a business plan, which is sort of the ultimate product that we're hoping folks come out of that with. Then in the summer, we offer some sort of version of our crop production courses or workshops. Typically, these are offered on the farm. These are experiential courses that do have sort of online learning components in that sort of hybrid format. Again, we put it online completely this year and are trying to find ways to offer experiential learning opportunities for folks in the places where they are. So, we're doing, for example, a weed and pest identification series this week. In fact, the course is happening as we speak. And having folks kind of submit pictures of weeds and pests from their farms and gardens to do some identification in the course when we do come together. So those are the kind of the broad courses that we offer. Throughout the season and in the off season, we do offer workshops as well. These are sort of one-off opportunities for folks to do deeper dives into things like food safety, which has been a big emphasis for us over here as the Food Safety Modernization Act and Produce Safety Rule comes online. I'm sure you all are familiar with that as well. Trying to create opportunities for growers who might be exempt from the Produce Safety Rule or a qualified exempt status. But what we're finding too is that it's being really helpful to promote food safety for our growers as a way of accessing markets that they might not otherwise have access to, usually wholesale institutional markets. On that front, we also do a lot of direct market training and record keeping for good best business practices, things like that. What might stand us apart a little bit too from some of the other programs that have been mentioned here is the incubator program. We've been running this pretty much since the beginning of New Entry's operations, although it's changed a little bit over the years. We offer folks an opportunity to start their own farm business on sites, on land that we operate and help steward. Individuals start generally on a 1/4 acre of land and go up to an acre, and they can be on the property from 1 to 3 years. We just moved on to a new farm this year, so we've actually expanded our capacity quite a bit, and we have 12 incubator farmers on site this year. This is a pretty phenomenal way of allowing beginning farmers kind of a head start, because we do offer them access to equipment and tools. We basically provide a lot of the things in and around their fields, but stuff that they're working with in fields. So for example, drip irrigation they would pay for, but maintenance of the irrigation system on the property and the hydrants to get to their fields, we take care of. We also do some kind of large tractor work for the farm itself. So the incubator farm has been a really, I think, excellent program for us and relates to the NIFTY network that I'll talk about here in a second. So you can go to the next slide, please. So in addition to providing the incubator as a site for folks to start their own small farm business, we operate a food hub on site as well that can buy in produce from our incubator farmers and from folks who have taken our business class, and provides them a sort of ready-made market on site for incubator folks, and gives them priority pricing too if they've been through the business class and are operating on farms off-site. We basically aggregate and distribute produce through our food hub through a CSA, but we also have food access programs where we work with food banks, and in Massachusetts we call it sort of a council on aging, which is kind of senior centers, where we distribute food as well, that we buy in from our alumni farmers. And all of that too, not only does it provide economic opportunities, but it's designed to be sort of a training opportunity as well. So we kind of sneak in some lessons there on post-harvest handling and food safety, and help folks think through pricing, things like that. As we kind of use this food hub as an income generating tool, but also as a training tool for our farmers. Slide, please. So the last sort of big bucket area, which is pretty large, and so I'm going to try to kind of distill it down into these three key areas, because New Entry has been doing some national and regional program work for about the past 10 years, starting with our National Incubator Farm Training Initiative, going back to 2011, where I think our director even then realized that there was so much interest in developing and starting incubator farms, especially for immigrants and refugees, which was, again, kind of the foundation for us, that it would be really useful to kind of help build out a network of service providers. And that mentality has kind of extended not just into incubator farms, but also into farms that host apprentices. And that's the National Ag Apprenticeship Learning Network, where both of these are essentially opportunities for folks to learn from one another. By folks, I mean sort of agricultural service providers, farmers who are hosting apprentices and want to think about how to maybe formalize some of their apprenticeships. Really excited to hear about Hope Farms and the Department of Labor sort of certified apprenticeships, because I think that's a really exciting sort of trend in this space, and great to know that that's happening down there. So, you know, these networks are opportunities for folks to learn from each other. Through NIFTY, we've come together through the field school every 2 years. We have a conference bringing folks together. Just last year, we combined the NIFTY conference, the field school conference, with the Ag Apprenticeship Learning Network, and then had kind of a couple of different tracks, whether folks were doing an incubator or focused on apprenticeship. But the goals really there are the same, in the sense that it's an opportunity to kind of look at some best practices, maybe develop some resources and share those resources throughout the network. And then all the while, we've also sort of co-hosted a Community Food Systems Conference for the past few years. And this is an outgrowth of the Community Food Projects grant that a lot of you are probably familiar with. And again, this is sort of a networking and learning opportunity that's probably expanded to a bit more of a diverse and a larger audience, as well as maybe kind of straddling some of the academic conference world, as well as the sort of agriculture food system professional worlds. So, you know, New Entry is doing a lot of these different things, and then I think, you know, more recently too has been really dedicated to doing outreach with veterans in our region. And, you know, we moved to a new farm in our part of Massachusetts this last year, and so that's entailed doing a lot of work with our community members and reaching out to Veterans Affairs offices in our region, and have had some really, I think that some of the most inspiring things that I've seen through our business class and folks who have taken some of our courses have been some of the vets that have taken the reins with that and gone on to develop some of their own farms and business plans. And just to see them being inspired by and taking some of that work and taking it out into the world has been one of the sort of most exciting things just in the last couple of years. I've been with New Entry only 2 years. But seeing how some of this work is being sort of taken in and conceived of in new and exciting ways by the vets we've been working with has been really exciting. So I'll kind of end on that note. And yeah, again, thanks for the invitation to be here.
Absolutely, Kevin, and thank you guys for all that you do. I can't say enough about the resources and just the people that are involved with New Entry and with NIFTY, because when I started, I guess, you know, and talked to some initial programs that are shockingly aren't around anymore, that weren't great about sharing their stuff and their information. You guys are exactly opposite. You share so much resources and information and post so many things. The videos, I got to watch all the webinars about starting an incubator farm project. And then you actually had that field tool kit that for farmers and ranchers. So if you start a farm, there are all your leases and everything. And most recently, even I think it was last week, I pulled one of your example equipment co-op forms off of y'all's educational resources and use that as kind of a jumping point for one of the incubator farms. So
That's great.
I'm so excited that you guys really seem to really want to build that sense of community, not just with the farmers and ranchers themselves that you work with, but with folks who are running farming and ranching training programs. So, so thank you for all that you guys do. And I was only every 2 years. I thought I was going to get see you guys soon, but
Yeah,
I'll have to wait till next year.
well, it sort of depends, and we had planned on doing something again this year for Nifty Field School, but obviously with the COVID, we're moving it online. So do stay tuned if you're interested about a sort of virtual get together in place of that field school that'll happen still in the late fall.
Yes. And I was going to ask you, do you know how many incubator farms you guys have as part of your project? I want to share the map with everybody real fast.
Yeah, great. The map does need updating, and it's something that we're constantly in the process of trying to kind of get ahead on, but we're always a little bit behind in terms of getting sort of criteria for the map and for the apprenticeship farm, because we want to do something similar for apprenticeship farms. But as we all know too, the sort of quality of an apprenticeship can run the gamut. And so our efforts are really to sort of elevate the quality of apprenticeships for farmers throughout the region and mostly through the US. So I couldn't off the top of my head tell you exactly how many incubators or farm programs that we have up there right now. But it is constantly being updated and revised. But yeah, so this is our webpage, and then the resource guides, the resource library on our webpage too. I'll just give a quick shout out. It's a little bit, sometimes a lot to navigate. We're also trying to kind of pull some stuff out of there. But there are some great things too, if you're thinking about metrics and how to evaluate programming, and even just some of the kind of forms for things like you just mentioned, like how to think about equipment, shared equipment on an incubator space. There's a lot of really great stuff there.
Yes. And you guys just do a really, like I said, a really good job, I think, of putting those on there. And on the map, I just wanted you guys, as our participants, to think, I know some folks, when you guys want to apply to our program or any of those programs out there, at least in our program, we want you to have at least a little bit of background in production agriculture, because as soon as from day one, you're writing your business plan. So it's a little bit difficult to do if you're not sure what you want to do. So a lot of times I'm going to refer you to like this tool, either the Nifty Incubator Farm map, or I'll refer you to NCAT, internship map. And so you can use this tool to find some of these incubator farms in your area and click on those and contact them and see if they have any programming or that kind of beginning working on the farm, getting some hours and just kind of learning about farming and ranching before you apply to those programs and jump in if that's what you need. So I wanted to touch on that because there's a bunch of them. Yeah, I was like, I thought you guys were international. Because you guys are, yes, you are. You're kind of everywhere. So
yeah, they're there. I mean, I don't know that we got them on the map. I don't know that we're actively sort of working in international places, but yeah, still focused mostly kind of with our land-based training here, and then certainly with our networks through Nifty and the apprenticeship programs and nationally.
Yes, that's awesome. Well, thank you, Kevin. Well, I think we're done with presentations, but we're going to open it up to questions. So I want to see what questions we have and kind of touch on those. I think I have one or two. Let me ask Cheryl. Cheryl, do we have any questions? You guys can go ahead and put them in the chat box, or if you want to, you can unmute your mics now.
We don't have any. I know that Hyatt has been posting some of the websites, but I don't have any. You answered the one about housing for Hope Farms, and that's really the last question that we've had in the chat.
Okay, and Margo shared the internship database for NCAT there as well. So if you guys need that internship database, or you're a producer and you think you may need interns or apprentices, you can actually list your farm and those opportunities through that site too. So just a note. Well, I want to see, Heidi, I think you talked a little bit about it. Hyatt, you did as well. Just kind of out to all of our speakers, are there ways, and I think we have participants from all over the country, but are there ways for them to get involved with your organization kind of at a local level? And if so, what's really the best way for them to do that, do you think? So, and you guys can just jump in.
So Hope Farms will take a stab at it.
Yeah, go for it, Tyler.
So we do accept volunteers. We have lots of people who are really interested in just being out on the farm in this community, and even the greater Houston area. But they can't commit to full time, and maybe don't even really have an interest in being on the farm full time. So we accept volunteers Monday through Saturday. And you could find yourself doing a variety of activities on the farm. And so if you weren't sure that the training program was for you, then you could certainly come out, as often as you would like, and spend some time on the farm, get to know everybody here, get your hands dirty a little bit, see what the operation is about, how we do things, and just take it all in,
That's a great idea. Yeah, kind of a try it before you buy it. Before you sign up for that year. That's a great idea, Tyler. Thank you. Hyatt or Heidi, I was going to say, do y'all want to add on there?
Yeah, so we also accept volunteers in any capacity, whether it be working on the farm or, even on the, somebody's really great at like social media or marketing, and helping in the organization in that way. But aside from the volunteer piece, one of the goals that, one of the things Steve and James wanted to do since the beginning was, because there's just such a need for it. And they've always been the kind of guys who just wanted to share everything that they've had. To expand their reach and have more impact and whatnot. So we've continued since our inception to get calls from people asking how do they do what we're doing, and instead of recreating the wheel, we're happy to have a conversation with those people who have land or want to assist veterans on their land and whatnot, that we're willing to share our programs and our curriculum with those people just to be able to reach more veterans and to save lives in any capacity. So I put my contact information, this is going out of state and whatever. So I put my contact information on there. So if anybody has any questions, just feel free to reach out.
That's awesome. Thank you. Yes, and I didn't note, but I probably should, is that both Hyatt and Tyler are on our Farmer Veteran Coalition of Texas board, and they're helping us to kind of develop those regional, I would call it kind of like you said, like platoons, but kind of work groups and social groups for veterans in kind of local areas. And Heidi, I think, is working on, I think she's probably going to head up our kind of our Fort Hood area. So we're all working on those things together as well. So if you're interested in being part of those groups, because I think we're all about community, and we're better together. Just make sure to reach out to us or to the FBC directly. You can do those things as well. So Margo or Kevin or Stephanie, do you guys have any thoughts on connecting kind of more at a local level and how they should do that?
Yeah, this is Margo, and we have the regional offices that I shared earlier. So if you, so each of our offices kind of does more intensive work locally and regionally. So if you are, if you're in Texas, obviously please get connected with our Southwest office based in San Antonio, because they do a lot of work just all across Texas and different places. And I'm going to put a link here in the chat box. And this goes to a resource page on our Armed to Farm site where you can click to sign up for the listserv, like I mentioned. And we also have a database, a map where you can, if you're a veteran farmer, you can put your farm there. You can also list, if you have a training program, you can list that there and find those resources there. So that helps you find things and other veteran farmers in your area. It's a self-listing map, and so the more people who use it, the better. So please list yourselves there and find others there. And I know, Erin, you're going to share all of our contact information with the participants. So anyone, please feel free to reach out to me, and I can get you on our email list. It's a great way to find out when we are doing trainings in your area. So, you know, whatever state you're in, if we're doing something in your area, you would get an alert about those events, because our staff do trainings and workshops all over the country in different places and with different partners. So we would love to connect with you in person, hopefully someday.
Yes, yes,
any
please.
of our training events.
Yes, I know we've got back and forth. So like how do we do any of our training 6 feet apart?
Yes.
How can we figure it out? You know, our cattle sticks, they're about that long. So
Yeah.
just might have to holler. But yeah, we're trying. We want to get together very soon. So Stephanie or Kevin, do you guys have any other thoughts on that? I want to make sure.
Yes, here. We've got, so the way that Holistic Management International is structured, we have our main office out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, but we've got 2 folks working virtually out of Texas. But then we also have a cohort of about 60 professional certified educators who teach a lot of our courses, but they also do consulting. And we've got a community map on our website that I encourage you all to check out. It not only has where certified educators are located, but where practitioners are located, and also where learning sites are located. So if you're interested in seeing holistic management practices and regenerative grazing in action, you can check that out. And I know that through our listserv as well, we've got a lot of intern opportunities that come out.
Oh, that's great. Would you mind sharing that for us, Stephanie? I haven't seen that for whatever reason. I don't know why.
The community map or the listserv, both?
Yes, please. Yes, the community map. I haven't seen that. I knew like one of our training farms, Doug Haveman's farm down in San Antonio, is an HMI training farm, but I didn't know there was a map of them. So, that's great. All right. And Kevin, I know you guys, you have the training farm in, you said it's Massachusetts?
Yeah, we're in Eastern Massachusetts. So if anyone happens to be nearby, come check us out. Otherwise, I would encourage folks just to head out to the website if they want to see some resources that might be applicable to them, either as aspiring farmers or community practitioners that could benefit from some of the resources we've got up there.
Absolutely. And I know the incubator farm training that we go to and the apprenticeship training that we go to is really specific for us who have programs, but you guys do a lot there too that participants I think could benefit from, even if they had, just maybe an idea of an interest in having other folks do like an incubator type project with them in the future. So if you get an opportunity, like I said, I would definitely come to any of those trainings that you can. And I think you guys hold those kind of all over the place. I don't think we've ever been in the same place twice when we've done those trainings.
Yeah, we have done sort of field schools all over. We were in New York last year, Colorado the year before that. So yeah, we're going to be in Washington State this year. Unfortunately, this is when we're moving online, but we'll keep it on and keep rotating around the country. So we'll be back.
Yes, I look forward to it. All right. Well, let me see if there's any other thoughts or any other things. If you guys have any questions, we can take those now, and I'll hang out for a little bit, but I want to be respectful of your time. We're just about 3 minutes over now. So I want to say thank you guys to all of our speakers, and thank you to participants. This concludes our series for our virtual training. We will do another one probably on funding, so on loans, grants, and other like alternative funding sources. We're hoping to have that going by September. So if you're interested, make sure you guys join our newsletter, and we'll post that out there. Thank you to all of our staff who have done such a great job in keeping these all of me organized and getting all of the presentations together and all of that kind of stuff. They've done a wonderful job, and they'll be editing and posting because technology is not my thing. And if you guys need anything from us, here's how to get a hold of us. We've got our website, newsletter. We have a couple of Facebook pages, calendar, email, all those kinds of things. If you're interested in the BattleGround program, I know we talked a little bit about it before, but you can just get on our on our website and go under training, and you'll see that there. So make sure you guys stay connected. Oh, last thing I wanted to note. So remember, I know a lot of you guys have asked me in the past about the Farm Service Agency loan opportunities, direct farm ownership loans. And remember that the Farm Bill has now made it a way to waive some of the years of experience through participating in a training program held by either Extension or a nonprofit or those kinds of things. So all of these programs that do these trainings, I think probably have a good chance of counting for your eligibility. And so make sure if you're participating or planning on participating that you include that in your experience because that really helps when you're talking about, I know a lot of you guys are interested in the funding stuff. So and with that, I think we will let you guys go for the day. But like I said, I'll stay on for a little bit. And thank you again, speakers. And we'll send you guys kind of a final head count and all of that kind of stuff. And we'll do a little post survey. We'll send that out probably later today. So thanks, everybody. You guys have been great.